Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Testing mic 1. Testing mic 1. Did you get everything you needed from Mike?
Thank you. Are you going to be sitting up here? Under these fun occurrences, right? I missed your Hawaiian shirt, though. Oh. I appreciate it. I usually wear it up front.
So I was going to sit
Monday?
here. I think
I don't know what day it is.
I'm going to sit there.
On Friday.
And that way, because I've got I'll pass the clicker down, and then I think we're staying seated.
Okay.
And then really quickly, tomorrow morning, am I meeting you at Justin? Okay. And I'll give you so I'll leave my house.
He's our chief delivery officer, so yeah. Construction for a long time.
Are you?
Yeah, right? This is where it's all about. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. I just, every time I think about the ESPS.
Yeah. Well, we don't like have Sioux City as we.
Oh, that's right.
It was a small room.
Yes. And you charge them with battery and assault. Oh, that's intense. Every time I think of Buster Johnson, I think of King and I just think of Sacha Baron Cohen. Are you up here in the front?
I have no plans to be anywhere.
I think that's good. Try and break the divide between us and them. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Hey, Emily. Oh, thank you. Well, you know, just try to be present. Community. Listen.
Good evening. Test. Test, test. Good evening, everybody. We're going to get about a 5-minute warning. It's just now 5 o'clock. We're going to get rolling in about 5 minutes. So last chance for the restroom, and find your seats, and we'll get started here in just a minute.
Scott, you're gonna crush it. Thanks for being here. You're gonna crush it. Thank you for being here.
trying to come from a place of compassion because I'm like, I see how they feel out of control. They feel scared about the implications, and a lot of people, their first encounter with the nocturnal exposure agreements, there's all the feelings around happy with big tech and the recent election, the erosion of democracy, the influence of social media. So it's a referendum on that. It's unfortunate when folks don't realize they can shape you. It's not always evident. Well, I mean, we're doing the best. Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Christina.
Good?
You switch?
I mean, I would, but I don't know the information. I'll leave it to call.
Should be well.
All right, good evening once again, everybody. If you could find your seats, we are after the hour, so we're about ready to get going here. We want make sure we have plenty of time for your questions.
What are you guys going to do?
So if you could find your seats, I'd appreciate it. All right, thank you all for joining. And as part of tonight's welcome, we have this meeting at the request of Mayor Romero. So I wanted to invite the mayor to come up and give you a brief welcome to tonight's meeting. If you could join me, Mayor Romero. Please welcome Mayor Romero.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Regina Romero. Thank you so much for coming out to have this conversation with the community. We insisted to make sure that there was an opportunity for community to be heard, and as Tucsonans, I am proud of the traditions that we have of listening to each other and having good conversations, making sure that we're getting the facts and that we're making decisions together as a community. I'm very proud of the traditions we have as a community. So we're here to make sure that you're getting your questions answered, that you get facts, and that will help us, mayor and council, make decisions of how we work together to protect our natural resources in our community. So welcome, thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it, and back to Tim Tamir.
All right, thank you, Mayor Romero, and thank you all for being here again. I'm very grateful tonight that Andy Squire is back from vacation. And so the last two times you've had to deal with me as your moderator host, and tonight you actually get a professional to help out. So please, please welcome Andy Squire.
Thanks. Thank you all. So I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Tucson. Welcome everyone again. Thank you for being here. We're going to go over just some housekeeping pieces and then the order that we're going to go through tonight, and introduce some elected officials, so if you'll bear with me on that. I love seeing all the signs. I love seeing all the participation in our community. That's a big deal. It's what the public process is about, right? So we understand that. What I would ask is during the presentation, if we could keep the signs down so people can actually see the screens that want to see the screens, but afterwards, feel free, sign away, do what you got to do. So not a problem with that. Okay, so we got the welcome done. The mayor, thank you, Madam Mayor, for pitching that. Now, housekeeping, restrooms. Restrooms are in the back in the lobby, and or, because there's a lot of people here, you would go out those front lobby doors there, down the side here to the Galleria, and there's a whole slew of restrooms down the Galleria to the back. You'll need to come back around to these doors to gain access to the space, okay? So that's out there, plenty of restrooms. Please take the opportunity to avail yourself of them if you need them. The next piece is welcoming our elected. So I would start with, he's talking to somebody right now, but Supervisor Andres Cano. Hello, Supervisor. Thank you for being here, sir. And then we've got Ward 6 Councilmember Karen Ulick is here. Karen, hello. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. I know I saw Ward 3 Councilmember Kevin Dahl. Kevin is here in the building. Way in the back. Way in the back. We have Ward 5 Councilmember Rocky Perez. Thank you, Councilmember Perez, for being here. Our Pima County Assessor, Suzanne Druby is here, sorry. Always get that right. And then Deputy County Administrator Carmine DeBonis is here. Carmine, thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate it. I am super hopeful I am not missing anyone. I think that was everybody who's made it tonight. If I am, let me know and we'll make sure you're recognized as we go on. At this point, how it's going to work this evening, the presentation. We're going to ask that you allow the presentation to go all the way through before the Q&A. We'll be hearing from the Beal developer team, from Tucson Water, from TEP, and we will have Scott DeBias is here from Pima County Department of Environmental Quality if there are air quality issues to discuss as well, okay, if there's questions about that. So if you can bear with us to let us get through the presentation, do those pieces, and then when we get to the Q&A, what we're going to be doing, we have a whole line of chairs down that side. My colleague Lane Mandel is waving at you over there. Lane is the Chief of Staff for the City Manager. Lane, if you would queue up when you have questions or statements, we will be allowing each person to come up to the podium and make their presentation to the body here and to everyone else in the audience who needs to hear it. So we welcome you to do that. We do ask you be respectful of everyone's time, okay? If you hear a lot of the same thing that you're bringing up, if you can kind of make that decision, if you still want to make a comment, but shorten it up because you're hitting on a point that hasn't been hit on, that would be really appreciated. We have a ton of people here. We want to make sure we get as many comments in as we can. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for your understanding. We appreciate you for that. So with that, let me introduce, make sure I've got that down. Yep. I'm going to introduce the team. I already said Scott DeBias is here with PDEQ. From TEP, we have Ryan Anderson. He's the Manager of Business Development. Ryan, thank you for being here, sir. Yeah, it's always nice to clap for Ryan. It's not bad. It's a good thing. These are all people. Come on. Let's be real. We're all people. Okay. Oh, come on. All right. Then what we got is from Tucson Water, we've got Deputy Director Scott Schladweiler. Scott, thank you for being here tonight. That's great. And then Carrie Sylvan is representing the Beal team, and I'm going to give Carrie, well, Carrie has a microphone. Let's get to the presentation. Allow them to introduce themselves so we can hear what they have to present. You can still boo your hearts out afterwards. So let's get the presentation done, okay? And Carrie, if you don't mind introducing the Beal team, please, and we can get this going. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. My name's Carrie Sylvan. I'm with Lazarus and Sylvan, and I have been in Tucson since 1989. Raised 3 kids here, and am excited to be here tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Logan, who's going to introduce the Beal team.
Thank you, Carrie. My name is Logan Craig. I am the Vice President of Development here at Beal Infrastructure. Previous to Beal, I was at I got it. It's okay. Thank you, Carrie. I'm standing. Thank you. So again, I'm Logan Craig. I am the Vice President of Development at Beal Infrastructure. Previous to Beal, I was on Microsoft's Data Center Development Group, and I have a background in renewable energy development. I joined Beal Infrastructure because we've brought together a team of industry veterans that have successfully and safely delivered data centers and critical infrastructure across the world. We have a commitment to sustainability, community investment, and health and safety, and are uniquely positioned to deliver solutions on a local level. Now, I have some team members with me here tonight. We know there are a lot of valid questions and concerns, and we are all here to answer those questions. I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves.
Thank you, Logan. Good evening. My name is Scott Robertson. I'm the Chief Delivery Officer for Beal Infrastructure. I'm bringing 38 years of infrastructure construction experience. The last 10 years I've spent building some of the largest data center campuses in the US for Google. I joined Beal because I recognize data centers are the new infrastructure. It's being invested on an unprecedented level across the country, across the world. It's an economic driver. It's an economic engine.
Hey, folks, please, let's do this. We understand the passions. We do understand it. Please, we hear you. It would be great for people who have not been able to hear the presentations. Ma'am, it would be great for folks who have not heard the presentation to have the opportunity to hear the presentation. There is plenty of time for the comments. There is plenty of time for you to express yourselves. We have 2 full hours tonight. If you will allow this to occur, it gives you more time for freedom of expression during and at the end, okay, where you can get the Q&A in. Let's go. Let them try. Please. Thank you, guys.
I've personally seen what this type of development can do for a community, particularly in rural Iowa and rural Oklahoma. The amount of workforce development, the community programs it can create, the STEM programs it can create in a school. I joined Beal after a long career with a large corporation because I saw how special Beal was to partner with communities, provide responsible development, sustainable, and partner again with communities, which is what we're doing right now. So thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Kassler. Hi. I am the head of water and wastewater for Beal Infrastructure. I have a background in water and wastewater infrastructure to support sustainable data center development, and I'm also an environmental engineer with a history in recycled water. Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and last but not least, my name is Arno Duser. I'm Director of Development for Beal Infrastructure. My background is in civil and environmental engineering as well, and I've experienced developing real estate infrastructure projects nationally and internationally. I represent the Southern Arizona region. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right. I'm going to step through a number of slides and try and explain what we're doing, and then I'm going to be turning it over to Tucson Water. So data centers, as many of you know, are critical infrastructure for our modern economy. We all have cell phones, we have computers, a number of us have multiple of those in our households. We make our medical appointments online, check medical records, do our banking online. A lot of us work virtually. Many of the various signs that I've seen have QR codes that if you click on will take you through a data center in order to get to different sites. There's a lot of the internet is housed in data centers. So that's what they are. They do bring key benefits to communities when we locate data centers. Significant tax revenue, well-paying local jobs, minimum traffic impacts, improved local infrastructure, and increased local connectivity. So a lot of questions have been about why Tucson. We have 1 million people who have chosen to live in this region. There are low risks of natural disasters. As the Beal folks indicated, there is a desire for and policies around sustainability in the city that align with Beal, and they're excited to be here. We're connected as a region to major markets, both existing fiber and freight routes, and we want to create data centers that are near existing users. We also have a strong workforce, and I know some are here. We have a large pool of skilled local trade labor capable of delivering complex infrastructure projects. As we heard at both the Board of Supervisors and at previous meetings, a lot of our local labor have to get into cars and leave their families to take jobs elsewhere. We want to create those jobs here. We have a diverse pipeline of local talent in our community that's equipped to meet the broad range of skills that are required for data centers. And there's also an ability to partner with community assets such as the university and schools on various types of educational opportunities. On water stewardship, Tucson Water has really been an industry leader in water stewardship for over 125 years. The city's climate action and adaptation plan, as well as One Water 2100, align with Beale Infrastructure's sustainability principles, and we're excited to bring those forward in this project. Tucson Water are your local experts, and they're gonna do, as I said, the next part of the presentation. We've been able to work with Tucson Water on a plan that increases the use of reclaimed water in an area of the region that currently only has drinking water to serve future industrial uses, and establish a new framework going forward for industry partners on water positivity. For power availability, it exists today, and there are renewable resources to be utilized. TEP has been planning for reliability and growth, including economic development, and has a mandate from the Arizona Corporation Commission to support economic development. Project Blue adds another industry ratepayer, which helps in all of the rates that are with consistent power usage to increase reliability of the system. The infrastructure is there, and renewable resources are available to the site. So let me explain a little bit about the context of where we are. Project Blue, as I said, the primary project is located at I-10 and Houghton. It's north of the fairgrounds. It's currently used, at least partially, as a shooting range. This whole area down south near that purple line is designated for industry growth by both the city, the county, and the state land department. This is important because that whole area is currently only served by potable or drinking water, not by reclaimed water. So this project, we believe, is responsibly sited. One lesson that's learned from the Phoenix market that many of you have identified is that data centers were located right in the middle of residential areas, directly adjacent to residents. This is in an area that is surrounded by industrial planned property for employment and light industrial type uses. Our nearest resident is north across I-10 and over a mile away from the project. It's near the major intersection of I-10 and Houghton, which has been recently improved. It's near existing utility infrastructure, as you can see on the top right-hand corner. It has no impacts to sensitive habitat, no findings of cultural resources. The purple line that you see on the map is the new recharge line and gives you some perspective of its length from east to west across the city limits. We're going to hear more about that investment in a minute, but it's over $100 million of oversized extension that includes an aquifer recharge area, which will double as a 30-acre recreation area. Also nearby is the airport.
Folks, please let this continue. Please. Folks, please. I'm getting a little soul crushed here, and I'm not that significant. But hey, please, we're also the town of Be Kind, right? Let's do this. Let's hear the presentation, and then we can have the Q&A and the conversation. Let's hear the presentation. Folks, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to talk here if we can get through the presentation.
Okay, I'm almost done. I just have a few more slides.
Thanks, Carrie.
Yep. Project Blue will be net water positive. It sets a new standard. It sets a new standard for industrial users coming into our region to support the city's longstanding water conservation and water stewardship. We will replenish over 100% of consumptive use, both the potable and the reclaimed, in the programs that truly create and tap into new water. Note that the new reclaimed water line will take 2 years to build, and during that time we will be using the potable water, and again, that will be part of the consumptive replacement. The infrastructure investment is 18 miles of reclaimed water line and a 30-acre aquifer recharge and recreation area that is being designed, constructed, and built by Beal. It will also be oversized to be able to provide the opportunity for reclaimed water, if you remember that map, down in that area. That is entirely paid for by Beal, and it will be gifted to the city of Tucson for ongoing operations. The aquifer recharge, for those of you who are from the east side of town and are familiar with the Sharp, the aquifer recharge will be similarly designed. On the operational efficiency, it's designed to optimize energy and water efficiency, again, in the design. The cooling technology is such that it enables operation without any water at internal temperatures ranging in the 80s and 90s. So that means water is not used during the winter months and the swing months, and sometimes in the evenings during the summer. At full build-out, water usage is just 6% of the reclaimed water within the Tucson Water portfolio, which is only 1% of the full amount of water. Unlike other users of reclaimed water, including the golf courses, we are working with Tucson Water and contractually committed to the water positivity that I talked about. Project Blue is committed to prioritizing clean energy generation sources. Project Blue will be a customer of TEP subject to the energy mix TEP has and that TEP will be creating in the future with alignment of goals towards renewable energy generation. Project Blue will support and not impact TEP's net zero emissions by 2050. Project Blue will not impact TEP's retirement of all coal assets, a commitment that's going to be made by 2032. The initial phase of the project, which is half of the first site, the power required for that phase is a combination of the excess capacity from TEP in the mix and 900 megawatts of renewable resources that are identified in TEP's most recent all-resource RFPs, which are 100% renewable resources. The initial phase also includes Project Blue funded infrastructure improvements that will be oversized for the system. And Project Blue is working with TEP and the city on feasibility of solar panels over the parking lot on the project sites. For future phases, we will support TEP's 2050 net zero emissions plan, and generation for future phases will be resourced through new RFPs with, again, a focus on renewable energy. Contract with TEP is designed to ensure no risk or financial burdens are passed on to existing ratepayers. That's being done. Project Blue is going to pay TEP's full retail rate for industrial scale customers which covers more than the service costs, going to pay the upfront costs of the infrastructure developed for its use, and a termination fee and letter of credit that more than cover any of the costs TEP will incur on its behalf. One of the questions that's been asked has been related to backup generators. There are some data center sites that use generators for their actual power. That is not the case here. The generators are backup generators and backup generators only. So they'll be tested once a month and will only be used in case of emergency. This slide helps to show the very first, what we call the primary project, and the initial phase is the first about 4 buildings. So when we talk about the initial phase for power, that's what I was speaking about, and this is also the initial phase when it comes to the economics. Project Blue will be the largest economic development project in Tucson's history. The investment for that first phase is $3.6 billion. That's 1.2. It's $1.2 billion for construction and $2.4 billion in equipment. Those numbers do not include the capital investment for 18-mile reclaimed water line or the aquifer recharge. And it does not include the future phases, which are the multipliers down at the bottom. The tax revenue generated, again, for that initial phase is $250 million into the public coffers. Of that, $97 million over the first 10 years will come into the City of Tucson General Fund. Overall, it supports the school districts as well. In this area, particularly the Vail School District. The primary project is currently owned by Pima County, and so in the sale, it will go into the county assessors and will be taxed appropriately. Again, this is the only the initial phase.
The faster we can get through this piece, the faster we can get to allow people to come up and make these comments. You're getting comments that are being yelled and not heard by everyone. We would love for you guys to have the opportunity to come up and make your comment at the podium. Just please let them continue with the presentation. We'll get through it as quickly as we can if we can stop being interrupted. Here we go.
Let's talk construction jobs. The construction jobs for the primary project is about 3,000. We still have we still have 3 more phases, so this is 3,000 construction jobs for the first 3 years, and then the next phases will come in. Permanent jobs for, again, the first phase is 180 and the multiplier is by 4. Go ahead. Last slide. Community investment and sustainability. This project is excited to partner with the public schools, the community colleges, and the University of Arizona on programs such as STEM education classes, apprenticeships and internships, skills certification, and educator workshops. We've also established within the project sustainability features that are listed on the slide that I think speak for themselves. I don't need to go over those. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Scott.
All right, good evening, everybody. So my name's Scott Schladweiler. I'm the Deputy Director at Tucson Water. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight, braving the heat, to learn something else about Project Blue. So Tucson Water's role in this project, just like any other development project, is to answer a couple questions first. 1, can we serve it? And if yes, 2, how do we serve it, what impacts do the developer need to build in order to offset any level of service that is impacted. So, everything we're going to talk about tonight are basic facts about the system that are going to help everybody understand what we have available, what's there, and how the system works. So we're going to start with the reclaim system. The reclaim system that you see up on the screen is how it exists today. We serve about 1,000 customers across the city and across the metropolitan area. It's primarily for non-potable and irrigation purposes. We serve just about every golf course, 60-some schools, parks, all for irrigation needs. There are two main sources of supply for the reclaim system right now. So Pima County is the regional wastewater provider. They collect and treat wastewater from across the county. They treat it at two different locations, Agua Nueva and Tres Rios. Both of those treat water to a very high standard and discharge them into the Santa Cruz River, both into managed recharge facilities where we do receive credit for them for those water resources. The first main supply for our reclaim system is the Agua Nueva wastewater facility. We take water directly from there and we deliver that to our customers. So year over year, we're entitled to about 20 to 22,000 acre feet a year of reclaim credits. Our customers take about 11 to 14,000 acre feet a year. What we don't deliver to our customers is put back in the ground. It's stored in the ground at a couple different recharge facilities. One, the Sweetwater Recharge Facility, located right near Agua Nueva and our reclaim facility. The other is Sharp, which you heard Carrie mention, over on the southeast side of town, the South Houghton Area Recharge Project. We're about to expand that facility within the next year to allow more recharge in that facility. So using the reclaim system has a number of benefits. For non-potable use, we offset the use of groundwater. We reduce our reliance on Colorado River water, so maximizing this is to everyone's benefit. Let's take a look at our overall snapshot of our water portfolio. So we're aware that we're all very reliant on Colorado River water right now. We have the largest municipal allocation in the state of Arizona of over 144,000 acre feet a year. Our average demand year over year is right around 108,000 acre feet a year. So the water that we haven't been taking, we put back in the ground and we store and we save it for later. Right now we have about 6 years of Colorado River water stored in the ground for future use. Same thing with reclaimed water. We've been storing water for years. Right now we have about 2.5 years of reclaimed water stored in the ground that we can use for future use. When it comes to groundwater, we have access to millions and millions of acre feet throughout the basin. There's over 60 years of groundwater available to us today. We're also further reliant on rainwater and stormwater. This is another use that can provide a quality of life throughout the city while we offset our groundwater use and Colorado River water use. A lot of that effort ties directly into the Tucson's Climate Action Plan, Tucson Resilient Together, where we're adding trees, increasing the shade canopy, reducing the heat island effect. If we look at our total water supply availability, just as a snapshot for comparison, just so as a visual, we have what's called Designation of Assured Water Supply. Our last designation was granted in 2014, and it states we have over almost 183,000 acre feet a year of access to water every single year. Our average demand is about 108,000 acre feet. So there is a buffer that we're putting away for the future right now. So the reclaimed infrastructure that's being proposed, for this facility, as you heard Carrie mention, there's about an 18-mile pipeline. We're going to connect to our existing system up near Mission Manor Park. From there, we'll build a pipeline that will deliver water to a recharge facility. This recharge facility will be operated just like any of our others, the Sweetwater Recharge Facility, even our Calsharp and Southsharp facilities where we store our Colorado River water out on the west side of town. We can store water there and we can recover it as needed. So during the winter months, when demand is low, we're going to push as much water out there as we can, store water in the ground, And then during the peak season, when we need the additional supply, we can recover water from there. Only the water stored in the ground, only the water stored out there will be recovered and used to meet demand. Groundwater will not be affected. The water quality will not be affected. These facilities will be permitted.
Folks, please be respectful. Let him finish. Let him finish the presentation.
These facilities
Please.
will be permitted by ADEQ and ADWR, just like all of our other facilities. We've been operating facilities like this for years. This project will be net water positive. Project Blue will be required to replenish at least 100% of the water that they use.
We hear you. You don't like net water positive. Scott, please continue.
This includes
Come on,
all
folks,
reclaimed
please.
water.
Let him present, please.
So this includes all reclaimed water and all potable water. Everything that they use at the site. Even for their restrooms, for their drinking fountains, they will replenish this. So net water positive means there will be an increase in water quantity, water quality, or access to water that we didn't have access to before. This is going to be done in one of two ways. Project Blue will pay the same rates that everybody else pays for reclaimed water, for potable water. They will also pay an additional water positivity charge. This water will be collected by Tucson Water, and we will put that funding towards projects to replenish the water. The other way it can be done is Project Blue can execute projects on their own. Those projects will contribute to water positivity. They'll be reviewed and evaluated by us, and we'll make sure that that accounts for all the water they're using. Water positivity is still something that does need to be reviewed and discussed at Mayor and Council, so a lot of what you're going to see here is still subject to discussion. There are 5 different areas, and there's no shortage of ways that we can continue to save water, continue to replenish our system. So water conservation is the first one. We have a fantastic water conservation program. It's been the backbone of our water stewardship for decades, and it's put us in the great position that we're in right now. But there is more that can be done and other ways that Project Blue can contribute. Additional fixture replacements, turf replacement programs, a number of different ways where they can contribute and increase that effort. System efficiency, water systems leak. It's no secret. There's a lot of things out there that you can't see. They're not visual to the naked eye. There's leak detection technology out there that can be used to save water. We've done this. We've piloted this even at Tucson and found measurable savings. Implementing smart metering and advanced metering infrastructure is another way where we have seen measurable savings across the country where this has also been implemented. Supply augmentation is another big one. There are CAP leases around the state where not everybody is using their full allocation. They may not have physical access to the water, they may not have legal access somewhere, or they can't get to it. So that water could be conveyed to Tucson to replenish this. Tucson, also there are other opportunities too. Long-term storage credit purchases are a great way to augment our water supply. The city just did this. If you saw a news press release last week, we purchased 21,000 acre feet of long-term storage credits. That water is stored right here in Tucson. That is available for our use, so we now have legal access and physical access to that water. Supply restoration. Tucson has been heavily impacted by PFAS, as an example. There are a number of locations, number of wells where we can restore capacity to our system. Project Blue can help make these investments. We've lost almost 30 wells on our potable system. They can come back, implement wellhead treatment, centralized treatment, and restore that capacity that we lost. It's to our advantage. And there are also nature-based solutions, furthering green stormwater infrastructure, rainwater harvesting. All of these offset water use. There's more effort that can be put into this, and Project Blue can make contributions to help support and further these efforts. If you haven't reviewed our One Water 2100 plan, please go and do so. This is our long-range water resource plan that was approved by Mayor and Council in October of 2023. This looks at all of our water supplies. It looks to make sure that we are using the right water for the right purpose. We did look at scenario planning too. I know those are questions that were asked before. What happens if CAP water is reduced, or at least our allocation is reduced? All of that is discussed in here. As were all of the actions and the strategies that were discussed for water positivity. They are all discussed in our One Water plan.
Please let him finish, please. We hear you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So if you haven't reviewed it, the link's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Please go check it out. And I'm going to turn it over to CEP.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Anderson. I manage business development for TEP. I'm here today to talk to you about the diligence that's been completed associated with this project and answer your questions related to the power needs. So I want to start on this slide, sustainability. TEP remains committed to achieving net zero by 2050. It's a hard goal to reach, but we're standing by that commitment. Project Blue will not affect that goal. We stay committed to that goal. Second, there's a lot of data center demand across the country. There's a lot of controversy associated with it, as we can see here today. But one of the reasons that Project Blue is here in Pima County is because TEP has been building out renewable energy projects the last couple of years and will continue to do so for the next 2. So we have had 200 megawatts of energy storage that has come online. We're going to have another 200 megawatts of energy storage the next couple of years and some more solar. So that's created capacity available that Project Blue can avail themselves of. The initial phase of Project Blue is a bright line. So this first approximately 300 megawatts we can serve with our existing resources. We're not building any new resources for the first phase. The only piece of infrastructure required is a switchgear, which actually increases network resiliency. So future phases of Project Blue are aspirational and will be subject to contract negotiations. I've seen a lot of signs that says we want to see the accountability, and in those contracts is where the accountability lives. Rates. So there are a lot of questions about rates associated with Project Blue. And I just want to back up and say that through all the questions, and I want to thank the council members and the supervisors for channeling a lot of the questions to TEP from you all, the constituency. And I would say those questions have been broken into 3 major themes. One was the one I just hit, which is impacts to climate and carbon reduction goals. The other is rates, and the third is reliability. So I just spoke to climate goals. Rates is what I want to talk about for this slide. So quickly, it's hard to see when I have to turn around, but customers with high steady usage like data centers, it's like driving your car on the highway. They consume a lot, they consume it very steady. It's actually a good way to recover your investments in the infrastructure. If you have a transformer that costs $100 and you have 100 customers, each pays $1 in a socialized asset like our electric grid. If you add another customer to that, you pay a little less than $1. Project Blue is a heavy user, and so that extra revenue and that additional customer will help us recover the system infrastructure investments we've made more quickly. In fact, TEP's invested $1.7 billion in our grid in Pima County since 2021. $1.7 billion in our grid since 2021. So helping to recover those investments with a big customer is positive for you. I'd also say that Project Blue's, I want to highlight the fact that like many of our elected here who are here facilitating this conversation, all the contracts that go before the Arizona Corporation Commissions are vetted by those elected commissioners as well. So you all have a chance for those. They're statewide elections. And every single one of those commissioners has committed themselves to ensuring that residential and existing customers are not exposed to risk or costs associated with data center development. there's been some very astute observers of this development nationwide, even in our community, and they pointed out that the Corporation Commission is open to docket to address these very concerns. And the chair of the commission has stated that he doesn't want to see any shift of costs or risks to existing customers. And he's going to be the one that will review these contracts. My final slide is reliability. So as Deputy Director Scott Schladweiler said about the diligence that the water utility
Final
does.
slide, folks. Final slide. Go ahead, Ryan, and then we'll
Thank
get
you,
through
Andy.
to the finish with that. Come on.
So
really?
for reliability, the diligence that's been done on a project like this is our first commitment is to ensure that it in no way affects the 99.9% reliability that TP offers all the customers. You can vet those facts and you can look at them on our website, but after we went through a system impact study, we determined that this initial phase of Project Blue we can serve without compromising that. We jealously guard that reliability statistic. I also wanted to say that Project Blue's, they will be funding the switchgear through their rates associated with the contract. And finally, I want to end on the fact that reliability is something that is not only regulated by the Corporation Commission, but we have federal regulators that require us to hold a certain reserve capacity to respond to emergencies. So thank you for the questions, and I hope that satisfied some of your answers, some of your questions. But we will move on to questions here in a moment. Thank you.
Okay. So go ahead, get it out. Do we need to have a rage scream? Maybe a rage scream. I don't want to make light of it. We hear it, okay? We're standing here listening. We're hearing it. We've had these meetings at the request of our mayor and council to make sure that our community could be heard. They didn't have to happen. They didn't have to happen, but the mayor and council wanted to make sure that we heard the community. We are hearing you. It's not doing you a favor. It's what we're supposed to do. City staff, we're not doing anybody a favor. You're right, and that's where I'm trying to get to. So give me just a moment. That's so sad. That's sad. So we're going to begin with our first speaker. I would hope you guys would give our speakers and the folks asking questions a moment to speak where they can be heard. Okay? You're welcome to introduce yourself if you're comfortable doing that. If you are not, you are welcome to comment anonymously. So please do.
Hi, my name's Tom Tarter, and I'm against Project Blue.
We're going to, hold on a second, Tom. Hey, Tom, second. Can we up his mic a little bit, Bill? Tom, go ahead. Try again.
Okay, this is about water. There's no doubt this is about water. Reclaimed water is our future drinking water. We're already recharging it, and we're going to give 6% of it away to one company for 180 jobs. This water should be going back in the ground so we can drink it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you for listening. I will not make any points about the data that's been presented because it's so questionable it'll take. I will not make any points about the data that's been presented because it's so questionable it'll take forever. I am going to talk about something else. I have 4 points about business risk and a question. First, it is essential that the City Council, as a publicly accountable body, should do its best to keep business risk at a minimum in its business contracting. 2, please understand that Beale, Humphreys Peak, and Blue Owl are 3 separate companies. Even if one owns the others, company law does not permit any one of them to take responsibility for the contracts that the others get into. 3, as far as I am aware, Humphreys Peak, the signatory on the development agreement, is a shell company with a single owner. As such, the city needs to have a written statement, a balance sheet, or a guarantee from Beale or Blue Owl to show that Humphreys Peak has the assets to fulfill its end of the contract. Further, the development agreement allows Humphreys Peak to sell its commitment to any party of its choice without consulting the city. That adds to the risk of annexation and the need to supply water to an unknown entity in the future. So my question, how does the city manager hope to cover these risks? And has he kept the city council members informed of the business risk they are getting into?
There we go. Please, go ahead.
Hello. The data center industry is now in a race among very large corporate players, and this race appears to be creating a speculative market. In today's economic volatility and uncertainty, a potential contraction and rationalization can have enormous consequences on affected communities, which have orders of magnitude less resources than the tech giants. I'll also add, I suspect Beale's balance sheet has orders of magnitude less than the tech giants as well. In the event of an abandonment of construction of supporting infrastructure that Tucson Electric Power or Tucson Water had to make in this project, during the project, will the Project Blue development agreement include a posted bond by Amazon to protect TEP and Tucson Water customers against payment of the abandoned facilities? Will this bond be insured and reinsured? I remember when AIG had to be bailed out. They were the reinsurer of last resort. Or do you intend the risk to be passed on to Tucson to be like an albatross around our necks for generations?
All right. I'll try and address, I can only speak for what's in the development agreement for the water portion, because the water is in the development agreement. For the assets that Beale Infrastructure is building for Tucson Water, there is a requirement that whatever segments, we are intentionally designing the reclaimed water extension to be completed or in segments, so that if there is an abandonment of infrastructure, it will still be fully operational and fully functional and be able to be turned over fully to Tucson Water.
Over the life
Over
the life of the project, chips will be enhanced. They'll be upgraded in the facilities. The water and electricity requirements will increase by maybe double over the next 5 years, maybe exponential. And so there needs to be a bond that's insured and reinsured during the life of the project for all these facility enhancements.
For the water, again, Logan can talk about the other bonding stuff, but for the water portion, the water, all of the water infrastructure and maintenance and then upgrades will be paid for through the water rates, which will be assessed by Tucson Water.
The chip, one more thing and then I'll leave, I promise. Chip makers like NVIDIA and their competition, they are increasing their chip capacities so fast. And water requirements are going to track with that. Could be exponential. Are we prepared for that?
Yeah.
Logan.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, to that, we have intentionally, and I appreciate this line of questioning, it has foresight, right? We are forecasting out our foreseeable build out, and we have put together conservative estimates of water usage for the full build out of not just the initial phase, but the primary and the secondary phase. So we are anticipating that this should be all of the water that we are needing. Even if we don't end up fully building, this is the max that we could use here.
Logan, did you have more you wanted to add? Sir, did you have more you wanted to add? Or were you okay?
No, we're good.
You're okay? Okay. And I apologize, folks, and give me just a moment, sir. I missed the question because we were trying to manage a sound issue from the gentleman who spoke before. The business case, correct? And
Business risk.
Good evening again. So the question was,
1 2 1 2.
okay, let's try again. So the question was, as I understood it, will the mayor and council be made aware of the business risks of the project? The answer is an absolute yes. That's
The mayor is sitting here listening and participating. She's right here. She's listening and she's taking in the information as the meeting was set up to be held. So what we're doing is Mr. Tamir is trying to answer the case. The mayor and council will be addressing the first visit of this conversation at the August 6th council meeting. That's where the development agreement and the conversation will occur before the mayor and council, where the mayor and council can provide discussion and comment. I appreciate that. That's not agendized. It's not a thing we can do. Right, sir? We're going to let Mr. Tamir answer the question, and then we're going to get to everyone else's questions. Please, please let this happen the way it's supposed to happen. Thank you for coming back up.
Thank you. May I just add something? May I just add one thing? When I asked my question, I don't mean to insult you. But the point is, Beal came to you to negotiate a deal. You could have got them on their knees. The development agreement draft that I'm reading doesn't read that way at all. And I'm very sorry to have to say that.
all right. Thank you. The question, as I understood it, was about the business risks and the risks of stranded infrastructure, things of that nature. Yes, absolutely. That is part of the information that will be provided to mayor and council and is being provided. And a lot of those questions, I will say, came from the community. So when we're saying we're listening to it, when we say we want to hear you engage, that's an example of a very important issue that needs to be addressed before mayor and council would be even asked to make a decision. They've not been asked to make a decision. They've not been provided all the information yet because we're doing still tonight gathering information. The mayor and council needs to have all business risk information in front of them before they would be asked to make a decision.
Okay, this was, thank you very much for that answer. I don't think it's adequate, but thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Sir, thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting.
I just have a quick question.
Get a little closer to the mic. Thanks, sir.
I have a quick question. I'm glad that the mayor brought everybody here so everybody can be present to this big old conversation thing. So instead of done behind closed doors. Because this way people, she made it to where everybody can be heard and these guys are here to listen. But my question is it going to cost us, what I work at, I make $17 an hour. So, and then I saw that on the electric bill is going to be taxed 15% plus being, it's going to go up 15% plus being taxed for 15%. And right now my electric bill is over $350. I can pay it, but I'm talking about everybody else that cannot work, that live on a, what is it called? Social Security. They don't get nothing but like $800, and they can't. Right now, groceries is very expensive. For a single person, I went to buy some food, and it was $50 for just 2 days of grocery food at Fry's. And that's who I'm talking about. The people, you guys say you're doing us a favor, but if you pay for it, you're going to make a lot of money off of this. You know what I mean? I know deals. Deals are, hang on. Deals are for rich people and big companies to make a lot of money. You know, I'm a Native American, so I've seen this many times before. You will see people, you can leave, but we're gonna stay here with no water, but I'm worried about the payments that I'm gonna have to make every month. You know, I don't know, I saw it where it said Project Blue is gonna raise it 15% plus being taxed 15%, and more than likely, water's gonna be, I'm gonna have to pay for it. Somebody out, the public's gonna have to pay for it, and I wanna know why. Why should we have to pay for something that this company is gonna make a lot of money? And that's about it.
Gentlemen, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, thank you for your question. And you know, the short answer is you won't. Your electricity bills, your water bills will not be increased because of this project. I'm sorry, that is actually the truth. That your electricity bills and your water bills will not be increased due to this project. And you know, we have Tucson Electric here, and we have Tucson Water, who can speak to that in greater detail.
Yeah.
Thank you for check.
He's on the other wireless. Go ahead.
Check.
You're on.
Check. Thank you for the thoughtful question, sir. I appreciate that. In terms of the 14% rate increase that was filed, that was a look back. So you look at the costs that were incurred in 2024, which is called a test year, and that represents all the costs that we incurred to serve the grid in 2024. We file that with the regulators and say the costs we're currently reflect our expenses from previous years. And so when we file a rate case, we have to true up our actual expenses against what we were charging from based on previous years. So this project has not been included in that rate case calculation. In the future, when we file a rate case, once they come online in 2027, if they come online in 2027, that additional revenue will help us recover all the investments we've made. And for the initial phase of this project, and again, sir, I'm just communicating the diligence that our regulatory and our legal team have done on this project. And that diligence says that with their revenue online, it will help defray upward pressure of rates, because costs go up when we buy transformers, when we buy circuits, when we pay our linemen to go out there and repair outages after a monsoon storm. All those costs are going up just like groceries. And when we have a big user on the system, it helps recover those costs. And the last thing I would say is I appreciate your concern, and thank you for the question.
But why do we, is it on? But why do we have to pay for it though? Why does the consumer have to pay for it if you guys are going to make the money off of it? I mean, we already pay for electricity already, and people always knocking on my door saying, hey, why don't you go to solar? Or we're with the electric company. And I said, well, if you're an electric company, why don't you help me bring down my prices? And, you know, and then I get a hold of the electric company and they say, we don't know anything about it. And that's about the solar. You know, so they want me to spend more money to have somebody else so the electric company can give me solar, which they don't. Nobody's going to give anything for free. You know, that's all I just want to know, because I don't like paying for something I'm not making money off of, because I work every day.
We hear you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. This question is for Tim. Why should Tucsonans trust what everybody says up here when during these forums you haven't invited a single independent expert? If you are so confident that you have the facts right, why wouldn't you bring folks in like your former professors from the U of A hydrology department? Or watershed management? Or leadership from the Tohono O'odham tribe? Or valley fever researchers? Was that included in your risk assessment? If you had invited those people, you could assure us that this project would in fact be problem-free, but you didn't. And I also want to ask why you are asking us to trust Christina with our water when she worked on Meta's data center team for the last 6 years while they were bleeding Georgia dry.
Thank you. To answer your first question about outside expertise, we do have an offer from the University of Arizona to look at the net water positivity piece. And so that is an element that we would be bringing to the council, is that independent expertise on that. And why not in this forum? These meetings were asked specifically to hear from the public, and that's what we've been trying to achieve, and we are definitely hearing you. I understand that for some of you, hearing from an independent expert would be helpful. And that is... Okay, so if all of you heard from an independent expert that this was water neutral, you would believe it. Okay, a few. So to your question, yes, I absolutely agree with you that before a decision would be made on this project of this magnitude, independent expertise would be absolute. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was telling me no independent experts, no. Independent expertise would be absolutely invaluable to this, and that is something that we would expect to be happening, and we are working with independent experts to achieve that. These meetings were the public forum in order to elicit information from you. And then your second part of the question, could you repeat it for me just so I have it?
So you're asking us to trust Beal and Christina here worked for Meta while they were bleeding Georgia dry.
By no means am I asking anybody, even the mayor and council, to just trust the word of Beal or even staff on this project. What we would be doing is putting in front of mayor and council the information and the agreements that could be moved on or could be not moved on, depending on the will of the council, the will of the people, and the information that's provided. So it is not us trusting Christina to make it water positive. It's not us trusting Beal to make it water positive. It's those agreements and accountability in them that accountability would flow.
Alrighty. I'm Tony Kaczynski and I live in Ward 4, Rita Ranch. I'm here to talk about public safety. That's my #1 concern. The city of Tucson has less than 645 firefighters at the moment, but if we continue to expand the city, especially Ward 4, lower and lower into the county, I'm concerned that we don't have enough first responders. So I don't want firefighters having to expand their scope of work without increasing staffing and support to put out a data center fire in Ward 4. Data center fires are very dangerous. They include high voltage, LiPo batteries, and other infrastructure that requires additional training and resources to extinguish. $97 million to the city of Tucson, roughly $9.7 million a year over 10 years has been proposed. I don't see how that's enough tax revenue, especially for Ward 4, to expand the services that we need to keep everything safe. And in Ward 4, Rita Ranch, that's where we would see the most issues. So And the first 2 years when you're using the potable water, if there's a loss of water pressure, that would be us. If there's issues with dust and other, construction problems, that would be us. And so I don't think that it's enough tax revenue.
Wasn't really posed as a question. Was there something you wanted to contribute with regard to the safety?
Yeah, I can't comment exactly on how the city uses the tax revenue that's generated from this project. The one thing that I will say with regards to the comment specifically on firefighting is that we have engaged already with the City of Tucson firefighters, and we have already had those initial review meetings where we've presented them our facility and the details behind it to make sure that that is not a concern and to make sure that they're able to handle a potential incident at those facilities. Thank you for your question.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ed Hendel. I am the co-founder of Sky Island AI, a local firm that helps Tucson businesses integrate AI. My company relies on data centers every single day, but I think that a hot desert in the midst of a drought is the worst possible place to put a data center. So Sky Island AI created a public dashboard projecting Project Blue's resource usage. And using the numbers from the city's own Project Blue website, we calculated that Project Blue will use more energy than every home in Tucson combined. That's actually a conservative estimate. Most likely it'll end up using more energy than every home, business, and industrial facility that TEP serves. It would essentially be like adding an entire second Tucson to the grid. Now, generating that power is also going to use water. A local energy expert, Russell Lowe's, calculated that the water used to generate that energy could make the total 10 times as much as you're claiming it's going to be.
Yeah, appreciate that, Ed.
So,
I'm sorry.
Let me finish my question. So, our mayor, Regina Romero, has rightly earned a national reputation for her outstanding climate leadership with the Tucson Resilient Together Climate Action Plan. But the Daily Star reported last week that TEP will likely need to build a natural gas plant to meet Project Blue's demands. And Pima County Department of Environmental Quality officials have said that that would make our net zero emissions target impossible. So my question is, in order to avoid undermining the mayor's excellent climate legacy, can you guarantee that TEP will present a publicly vetted, contractually binding plan to meet this enormous energy demand with 100% clean, renewable energy?
Thank you, Ed. We've been working with TEP on the initial phase. We've been working with TEP on the initial phase of this project. Roughly 300
Let
megawatts.
him answer the question, please.
Now, that 300 megawatts is being served by the existing excess capacity in the existing grid mix, plus new generation coming online that was identified in the past 2 all-resource RFPs. Those all-resource RFPs are the method in which TEP selects new generation sources. Those last 2 all-resource RFPs, this is before Project Beal, or our project came along, was selected entirely renewable resources. So those new renewable resources are enabling the initial phase. Now, future phases, I know TEP isn't speculating on resources to support future phases of this project. We feel that it was inappropriate to be speculating on the results of all resource RFPs that are yet to happen many years in the future. We were drawn to Southern Arizona originally by its robust solar resource. TEP has a generation queue that's gigawatts long of solar plus storage projects that this project will enable. There are wire solutions, there's the energy imbalance market, there's massive improvements in new technologies, including long duration storage and advanced geothermal that can serve this project's future phases many years in the future that need to be better reviewed at that time by TEP. I'd also like to point out that many other Western utilities have much deeper renewable penetration and successfully serve robust, reliable loads.
Come on, folks.
Thank you, Ed.
Let him finish the answer.
Ryan, feel free to jump in if you have anything to add.
Yeah.
Check. Thanks for the thoughtful question. And you're right. When I saw, and when the engineers and the system engineers saw the 1.3 gigawatt ultimate build out, that's a lot of energy. And I think your calculations are probably correct when you look at overall consumption. So I want to make a bright line between the initial phase, which is around 300 megawatts. To Logan's point, we did vet that, and that will be served with existing capacity. No, nothing more than what we already have planned from our 2020 and 2023 integrated resource plans that we vetted with many stakeholders from this community. The future phases that bring up to the 1.3 gigawatts, that will be subject to the all-source solicitation. And our Senior Director of Corporate Communications, Joe Salkowski, when he interviewed with Tony Davis, I think he was accurate when he talked about baseload generation is going to be critical to serve our community reliably, around the clock, 24/7. That said, when you have large customers with a lot of financial resources that are committed to renewable energy, they're able to cover some of the delta so that that cost shift to existing customers doesn't occur. And that's the way it works. But to your point, sir, these contracts will be vetted by the elected commission, Arizona Corporation Commission. So, but I appreciate it. Very thoughtful question.
I'd like to ask that you allow the public to vet it as well before the vote. I think the plan
Folks,
is
can you let him
essentially
do his follow-up question, please?
the
Go
plan
ahead,
is
sir.
essentially we'll figure it out later. I think the public needs to vet this before the vote.
Just to respond to that, sir, I appreciate you saying the plan will figure out later. Well, like a lot of development, you look at each phase, and for this current phase, we've incorporated it into contracts that will go before the commission, depending on how the mayor and council vote. But the corporation commissioners will look at the contract terms that reflect many of the best practices that we've learned in tier 1 markets, or markets that have already done this. And if you looked at the APS rate case, they talk about special energy contracts, energy supply agreements, that have to include things like a term. They have to include things like minimum demand payments, whether they use that energy or not. They have to include letters of credits. I think one of the other questions spoke to that. Essentially money sitting in escrow to protect existing customers if people don't show up the way they say they're going to show up. So all of those best practices were incorporated into the contract that will go before those elected commissioners at the ACC. So great question, and thank you, sir.
And I just want to add really quick there before we get to the next the next question that we're figuring it out right now. We are working with TEP and actively sourcing in-market renewable resources.
Please stop.
To serve future phases of this project.
He's addressing the question.
We'll be accelerating the timeline to bringing those phases online to serve future phases. You can read more about these efforts in a press release from last Thursday.
Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Carol Clement, and I'm a registered landscape architect with the state of Arizona. When I became a registrant, I took an oath to be a steward of the land. At the end, thank you. At the end of your July 23rd meeting, you, sir, said that you are trying to be stewards of the land. You are talking the talk, but not walking the walk. In particular, I would like to address your use of 143 million gallons of potable water year 1, 2, and that's open-ended depending on your build-out. Why? I have a question for you. If mayor and council were to allow you to come in and build this plant, would you consider building the recharge facility, reclaimed water facility first and foremost, so that you have that reclaimed water to build out your project and not use 143 million gallons of potable water? And I do not want to hear that the loans are already in place and that the whole thing would have to start over. Money is not water. You are asking to use a valuable resource, very valuable resource for this desert community. Let's hear your answer.
All right. First off, I think that's a very valid question, right? Everyone has that question. I appreciate you asking it. Truth is, we are actually already in our planning phases for, we can't start building because we don't have a project. So we are in our planning stages. We are doing what we can. We are doing what we can to start work on the reclaim system at risk without having this full project because we realize it's such a crucial element.
Yes.
That said, we can't use reclaimed water to start because there's no reclaimed water there.
Then build it first.
We will be building it as quickly as possible. We will be building it within the 2-year window. I understand there are restrictions in our agreement that require us to move off of potable water as soon as possible. However, what our building of this reclaimed water pipeline enables is any future development in that area which is designated for development, they can start on reclaimed water as soon as possible instead of relying on potable water.
I'm sorry.
Every drop, and I know there's some skepticism about water positive. I can admit that, I can hear that, but every drop we will also have requirements for the water replenishment, either the charge or funding crucial projects like PFAS remediation, crucial projects to bring more water into the system.
I'm sorry, but you don't get it. We are drawing from a dwindling source. You cannot use 143 million gallons of our potable water. I would also like to ask that if mayor and council proceeds with this project, that they write into the development agreement, application, whatever it is, that you are required to be LEED Platinum or LEED Gold certified, that you get 120 points out of your water conservation method application. You have an ability of 126, 15 is the minimum, and that you also, at the end of the project, that the land that you are on be designated as a wildlife sanctuary. You do not come to our desert and disrespect it. I ask that you care for it and love it as we do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have one more question. I have not heard, what is the anticipated lifespan of this project? When I read about data centers, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, they sort of have a reputation for becoming obsolete. I have not heard what the lifespan of this project is in all these conversations. I want to hear your answer. I'm going to stand here.
My experience has been the useful lifespan of a data center is somewhere between 15 and 20 years. The infrastructure investment is so expensive. As chip technology becomes more efficient, they're able to reuse the same space and build less of it. So 15 to 20 years has been my experience.
Thank you for that. Ma'am, as you're setting up for your question, I'm going to ask a question very quickly of the Beal team. And Carrie, if you're ready for this question. The question is, what does occur if mayor and council, once they review this, if they decide that this does not fit in the community? What does happen?
Logan, you want to take that?
So we do believe that this version of the project is the best project possible here. Working with the city to ensure a massive infrastructure build out of the reclaimed water system.
Allow the answer to hear it, then boo your hearts out if you don't like it. But let's hear the answer.
The project we're proposing includes a massive build out of the reclaimed water infrastructure, the likes of which have never been seen before here. This is the largest build out of reclaimed water infrastructure ever to occur here. So this project includes that infrastructure commitment, the water positivity commitment, and significant tax revenue for the city, county, and the state. So we believe this version of the project is the best one possible. If city council does reject this, if the city council does reject this project, there is still a need for cloud infrastructure in southern Arizona. There are over 1 million people in this region who require this infrastructure for their daily lives and for economic growth. We will absolutely be looking at alternatives outside of the city to support that infrastructure need in southern Arizona.
Thank you for that answer. Okay. Ma'am, thank you for that. Appreciate your patience.
Of course. Thank you, folks, for being here. I'm Melanie Cooley with Watershed Management Group. We are a small local nonprofit that has been working in water conservation education and river restoration for over 20 years in Tucson. I want to suggest and encourage that everybody here look up historical photos of the Santa Cruz River tonight. Where we are sitting right now was a forest 125 years ago that adjoined a flowing river that flowed year-round. There are people alive today who grew up swimming in the Santa Cruz River. And what we see today when we drive across that river that looks like a big dry ditch, we take it as normal because it's been that way for so long. But it isn't normal, it's a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe that was brought on by overpumping of our groundwater and bad development decisions. And Project Blue is another bad development decision. Tucson is 11 degrees hotter on average today than it was 100 years ago. 6 degrees of that is global and 5 degrees of that is local. It's local, which means we have control over it. It's local because we lost our forests, we lost our rivers, we lost those cooling corridors that ran through this region. And here at Watershed Management Group, we have done water offset work. We have worked with companies that were voluntarily offsetting their water usage. We have worked with communities to create offset programs. And I am here to tell you that Beal's Water Positive doesn't math. It is not even water neutral. It allows paper water as offsets, and paper water rights are great in their place, but they don't make rivers run. It has an exclusion for the water used in construction. They aren't even going to pretend to offset the drinking water used in construction. And as Ed pointed out, the water used for power generation is immense, and that is not included anywhere in the water positivity plan that they are presenting to us. It also doesn't account for uncertainty. So we are, of course, huge fans of water harvesting, of green stormwater infrastructure. That's what we do. We are all in on those projects. But they have built-in uncertainty. If it doesn't rain, you don't get water. Year to date, we have gotten half of our average rainfall to date this year. We are in a 30-year drought, and we are in a particularly bad dry spell right now. So in Tucson, there are areas of the Santa Cruz River that are being restored with reclaimed water. There's a lot of talk tonight about if it's reclaimed water, well, then it's okay. But our reclaimed water restores our rivers, restores our Santa Cruz River. There are areas of the Santa Cruz and the Rillito in Tucson, in neighborhoods that are under extreme heat stress. They're some of the hottest places in the city that could be restored if we used our reclaimed water for that. If we prioritized cooling corridors in our city, to restore our urban forests, to restore our rivers. And so, my question is, as the city evaluates development proposals that want to use our water, do you work from the assumption that the condition of our rivers is normal or that it's a catastrophe?
So I'll answer that question. I would say my answer is the current condition of most of the Santa Cruz River and the Rito and the Pantano is a catastrophe. That much is clear. I'd like to continue. I do care, and what I'd like to add to it is that we have secured the flows in the river since 2019, moving forward, by the changes in state law that we got passed to make it so that we're incentivized to leave the water in the river rather than take it out. You can yell at me all you want, but that was the city of Tucson, under the guidance of the mayor and council, that got state law changed to make sure that everywhere from 22nd Street Bridge to Trico Road Bridge is under what we call managed recharge projects. And we get 95% credit for the water that flows in. So it flows into the river, it recharges the river, and we get 95% credit. Prior to 2019, we got 50% credit, and every water provider in the region was only leaving their water in the river until they could get it out. So we changed that law in 2019 to protect flow in the river. We also, in 2019, we resumed the flow in the downtown area through the Heritage Project. That flow was a function of the city of Tucson and the mayor and council directing that we do that. Now, to your question about...
Let me just say, I want to say that's
Sure.
all fantastic.
Yep.
Like, we're not arguing at all with the work that has been done so far. Tucson Water has worked absolute miracles in helping Tucsonans reduce our water use. And the work we've done in our rivers so far is fantastic. That is part of what makes it so heartbreaking to give our water to industry that's extractive rather than back to Tucson's rivers in more abundance to the places, to cool the places where Tucsonans live and work.
Okay.
So props for all of that. Absolute props for all of that.
So thank you for acknowledging that. And what I'll add to that is I don't think the mayor and council has wavered from that. And the mayor and council have not been posed with these questions yet. That's literally what we're doing now. Now, with regard to whether we can do something similar in the Rito or the Pantano, when we got the state law changed, it only grandfathered in existing projects. So the Santa Cruz from 22nd essentially to Trico is grandfathered in to get the 95%. We don't have the same state law that allows us to do it in other areas. Does that mean we're not trying? Yes. We have been able to affect water law in Arizona. We've done it then, and we will do it again, and we will keep doing that work. So we are completely on the same page with regard to water stewardship. I know that because I've taken the position of having to assess a project, gather facts, and present those facts to the mayor and council, people are no longer believing in me or no longer believing in that stewardship. I'm not concerned about how you feel about me, but I am concerned about how you feel about this community and water stewardship. And I have done nothing to do anything other than advance that water stewardship.
And that is, and I want to acknowledge the stewardship that has been done so far. So I am not in any way attacking you, Tim, or Tucson Water. But I do want to make it clear that we have other choices as a city to use our reclaimed water that are not this, which is another in a long history of bad development decisions for Tucson and Tucsonans. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Andy, I do want to address a fine point that came up, and I do appreciate the water stewardship in this area. I also want to address that the water positivity that is in this project is different than the typical corporate sustainability water offsets. The reason why it's different is because we are actively required to participate in projects that can directly replenish Tucson Water's water supply portfolio. That is the reason why there are additional potential options for water augmentation. Nature-based solutions are 100% on the table. The reason why we haven't committed to one yet
Please let her finish.
is because we're still in the process of approving the project. We are looking at our options. At the base case, there's a rate. The rate will go towards the water augmentation that Tucson Water just purchased in their long-term storage credits. But there are other opportunities for water replenishment that we are 100% evaluating, including nature-based solutions, but they do have to be able to support Tucson Water's water supply portfolio. There are plenty of projects available. There are currently 28 wells and there are 30 wells and 28 MGD, million gallons a day, of water that's unavailable to Tucson Water because of PFAS contamination. Those are projects that Beal Infrastructure can invest in to unlock, to clean up that groundwater.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
All right, can you hear me? So all of the presentations we have seen show us a best case scenario, but what happens when the tech bubble bursts like it has before and will again? What happens to Tucson and all these promises being made in the worst case scenario? None of us have seen the contracts. Who is on the hook for what? Where does the actual accountability lie in any worst case, and why haven't we been shown that as part of your public information?
if I'm understanding your question correctly, that accountability on the water infrastructure and
Everything,
on the water,
not just water, everything.
on the so on the water infrastructure and the water positivity, that accountability is in the development agreement. Now, other commitments made associated with this project are found in the zoning agreement, which is a public agreement and widely available. We can certainly make sure that is linked on the city website.
Yes, please.
Yes. So those are codified within existing agreements that are available to the public that we will make sure are easily available, and we can direct everyone on the city website to all of those agreements where those are codified.
So, okay. Here we go. Another speaker, please. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Roberto Bobby Jaramillo. I'm a longtime resident of Tucson, Arizona. First and foremost, I want to thank Mayor Romero and Vice Mayor Santa Cruz and council members for holding this meeting. And Tucson Water for their stewardship these past few decades, right? We do have the water. We have recycled water, and we have the water from the aquifer. We have guaranteed water from the aquifer for the next 25 to 30 years from what we've been told. But this is like deja vu for me, going back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, when for economic reasons, Raytheon came in, or Hughes back then, the Arizona Air National Guard. The airport was renewed. Electronic factories came on board. What did they do? They contaminated the water. To this day, we're having to deal with that. It's been decades, guys, decades. I know that none of you guys are from here, except for a handful of guys that I know, okay? Take this problem elsewhere. We do not have... You have to understand, we're in a desert, in a drought session of our summers every single year for I don't know how many years. It's not good, guys. This project is not, I'm not against data centers, but not here. Not here. Okay? You know, we've been conserving water for many years. We took our landscaping out. We took our swimming pools out. We went to the little rabbit, what was the name? I mean, not rabbit, the little ducky, right?
Beat the Peak.
Beat the Peak, right? Beat the Peak, way back when, okay? For us to conserve the water for our future. So Claudia, where's Claudia? Evelina. Can you guarantee us water for future generations, okay? Can you guarantee water for her generation, my kids' generation, my grandkids' generation, and this little baby's generation? Tell me if you can. That's a quick answer. Guys, you know me, I've taken this personal for many years, and it breaks my heart to see these little kids, little babies, my grandkids, not having water in the future. Our Native American brothers and sisters should be at the table. Why? They are the ones that have been affected for centuries, guys. This just didn't start yesterday for them. It's continuing. And are they at the table? Give me an answer. No, where are they? That one young man asked the question, where are they? I asked the same question. I reached out to the nation community. They're clueless, okay? But yet, again, they're being taken advantage again, once again. So please, if you decide to go ahead with this program here, put it to the vote of the people. Let these people decide. Thank you. Please don't let Bezos put a straw in our pond. Thank you.
Folks, as the next speaker comes up, we've got about 15 minutes left. So we're going to get, if you can get through, we've got a pretty hard deadline at about 7:10, 7:15. We're going to get as many, because that's what we can afford to run the meeting. There's costs to running the meeting. So here we go.
Okay.
So go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Daniel Garcia, and I'm a native Tucsonan. I would just like to take you through a brief journey. My family has lived here in Tucson for 6 generations. I was raised in a very prominent union organizing community, so I am a lifetime union supporter. I was walking union picket lines with my parents since I was around 5 years old, and I would estimate that I have marched more picket lines than most people here today. My profession was in the electronics and manufacturing industry here in Tucson, so I know about the need to bring in clean industry into Tucson. Many people here will be talking about the facts that they believe are correct and beneficial to our community. I will share my facts that I hold to be true. My family roots used to be as deep as the water table, but unfortunately that has gone down. The Watershed Management Group here in Tucson showed pictures in a recent presentation of people swimming in the Santa Cruz River in the early 1900s when the river ran continuously. I know this to be a fact because I cherish the stories that my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother would tell us about how the Tucson community would gather at the Santa Cruz River and spend the evenings picnicking around the forest of trees. They even talked about having a lagoon by downtown. I remember the days when my parents would take us kids to Midvale Farms to see the fields of cotton and pecan trees by the Santa Cruz River. We lived close to the Santa Cruz River, so as kids we would always ride our bikes and watch the Santa Cruz River run during the rainy season. It would steadily run after most rains. I also remember that in the summer of 1984, my family was on a houseboat viewing the Glen Canyon Dam from the Lake Powell side, where the water was about 10 feet from going over the top of the dam. What I believe to be true is that climate change is affecting the world, our country, and especially our desert region. What I also know to be true is that the Santa Cruz River Basin continues to be depleted. Our summer temperatures are hitting record highs, and our water levels are hitting record lows. We no longer have the monsoon rains that had the Santa Cruz River run bank to bank. It has only lightly flowed once this summer. The reports are out that within 2 years, the water in Lake Powell will be so low that the power generating turbines will no longer be operational. Do you want facts? Just look at the aerial photos of Lake Powell and Lake Mead from 1984 and 2025. Look at the record number of forest fires across the country, including our Grand Canyon. The thing is, our community has been working and dealing with the water issue for a very long time, just like even Tim mentioned. As one example, I would like to do a shout out to Water Management Group, as they have worked on this issue for a very long time, and I thank them for that. Civic and elected leaders have worked very hard to achieve this water conservation. A very simple example that Roberto just brought up was when we grew up with the Beat the Peak program. We also had to deal with the successes and failures when the CAP was brought into Tucson. Unfortunately, we've also had industry come into our community and be a negative impact. My family lived and suffered with the water pollution that was created in our Southside community, which is presently a Superfund site. As a member of the Las Aguas group, we believe bringing Project Blue into our community would be a negative impact because the #1 resource we need to protect is our water, our agua. Now, anyone here Anyone here can do the math. There is no way you are going to create more water by using more water. As for jobs that this project is proposing to bring in, my union brothers and sisters over there, don't sell yourself short and just go for the dangling carrot. Our civic leaders must come up with better alternatives for job creation and protecting our environment. Our challenge as a community is to create those additional replenishment programs as our water use is needed, without having this company use all that additional water. That was the union kind of thinking that I grew up with. We must be forward-thinking and not forget about the welfare of our grandchildren and descendants. Lastly, as this is being touted as the largest economic development program for Tucson, we feel that the Tucson community has to have a seat at the table before any decision is to be made. Let's face it, the technical experts on both sides say different facts, so they can't both be right. You cannot make final decisions until further and additional collaboration occurs from all sides. Otherwise, a hasty decision now will cause tremendous division within our community that we have worked so hard to create. The best decision is to let the public vote and not leave it up to a 7-member city council. Thank you.
Sorry, before we get to the next question there, I just want to thank you for that. That's wonderful context. I think we've had a few, we've had a number of comments today on that water positivity and the ability to bring more water than we're using to the Tucson watershed. And that is a real commitment. These are real projects that are coming along. And I think Tucson Water has been an excellent steward of your water resource here. And they continue to be. And I think it would be helpful to turn it over to Tucson Water to just quickly walk through how water positivity is a real commitment here, delivering real wet and real paper water in excess of our use.
So I appreciate what you're asking. I think right now we need to let the Q&A continue and finish up because we're running out of time. It's a valid point. A lot of that data and that information, again, is on the website. It's available, but we want to let the next couple of speakers, I think we're probably going to wind up stopping with the gentleman in the black shirt. We'll let you get through them. So please, sir, thank you.
Hello, my name is Rocky Rivera. I'm an environmental justice organizer here representing Las Aguas and a Southside resident. I do also want to thank the mayor and council for all the work they've done with our water and protecting it and conserving it. That being said, as the person before me came, he mentioned that we could have alternatives, and I'm here to pitch that alternative. My alternative is a proposition for a justice-centered aeroponic farm on using that same land. A regenerative model rooted in investment and feeding thousands of people, creating the same 3,000 construction jobs while providing 500 plus living wage forever careers. This farm would also work in correlation with the U of A and their STEM department to create youth empowerment and training for our youth and healing land ravaged by years of environmental neglect. So I'm here to say this is just a fight over land, over water. This is a fight over all our futures here. Over who gets to decide what Tucson becomes. So that being said, my ask is to Mayor and Council, can we please leave this to the people to vote on this and put it on a ballot and let us decide what is best for our own city here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. 2 more speakers. There you go, sir.
My name is Steve Valencia. I'm with Arizona Jobs with Justice. And I have a really quick question for you because I want the other brothers to speak, right? The other sisters and brothers. But I want to know one thing. If, things don't look too good for data center, right? But I have a question. I got a question for you. If Beale or data centers go to another site, whether it be state land, Pima County, elsewhere in Tucson, what control do we have of the water?
It's a great question. Who can address that or would like to?
I do appreciate the question. Any answer I could give would just be speculation at this point. We're very focused on the project at hand, and I think we have presented a truly sustainable water solution that includes an impactful impact in your reclaimed water infrastructure. But any other, if this does not go through and we were to pivot to another site, would just be speculation that I'm not prepared to answer at this point. But appreciate the question.
Do we have another speaker on that question, Andy? Or
Yeah, we'll try and get an answer on that, specifically regarding the state land portion of that question, and we'll do our best to get an answer that we can post up on the line. Sir, we'll try and get you that answer. There's legal considerations that we'd have to discuss, and we'll get that for you. It will be a public answer that we will post on our page. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
You said, is it turn on? How you doing? I'm Josh Despain. I'm with the IBEW Electricians Union in town. I see some other unions. I see the carpenters, laborers, operating engineers. Thanks for coming out, y'all. Anyway, I just had one question. That you saw you had 3,000 construction jobs. How long are those construction jobs? When is the job supposed to be finished?
Hi. So first off, thank you for that question. Thank you for being here, and that extends to all the union members that are here in support tonight. The 3,000 construction jobs, I'll like to reiterate that point, are only for the initial phase of the project, and therefore when and this is something that needs to be reinforced, because I think in certain cases numbers are getting mixed up and associated wrongly depending on the phase that we're looking at. So when we look at the economic development figures, whether that's the tax revenue numbers, the permanent number of jobs that are created on site, which we haven't really touched on tonight, but there are permanent jobs that are created on site directly at this property once it becomes operational. Those are only for the initial phase. And when we look at the numbers, whether that's for the power or for the water that's outlined in the development agreement, that is for both projects. So I just want to make that clear. In terms of your question for those 3,000 construction jobs, we anticipate those 3,000 construction jobs for that initial phase to go through 2028. And when we look at future phases and the both projects, we expect that to last over a period of 10 years, depending on how those future agreements occur, whether that's with TP or with acquisition of future land. So thank you for that question.
So,
go ahead, sir.
So we did look at that. So the first phase is 3,000, and there could be more union jobs later on in phase 2 and phase 3.
Yes, that is correct. I think it was on the slide. We can't see them from here, but
I missed the slide.
Yes, the slides that were put up show how that multiplies, and that multiplication is across both of those phases. So if you do your 3,000 construction jobs times 3, that's the number of jobs overall that are estimated across both phases of the project, which is going to be a multi-phased approach, because again, right now the commitment that we're making is towards that initial phase. It's towards building out the infrastructure of the reclaimed water that can accommodate all of the phases
but we would be constructing that up front. So we're constructing infrastructure that supports the whole project while only at this moment committing to building that initial phase. So thank you.
Excellent. So,
Did you have a follow-up real quick?
what's that?
Did you have a follow-up real quick?
I did just have one other
Go ahead,
question
please.
to follow with that. So with that being said, this would keep thousands and thousands of construction skilled labor in Tucson, Arizona, to be able to stay with their families, spend their money on local business, and keep the economy here.
Thank you.
One last thing to add. We are working with the local unions.
Yeah.
One last thing to add. We are working with the local union. We are creating an agreement that we are drafting right now. So continue to look forward to working with you, how to benefit the union and the community. So thank you for your question.
So folks, thank you. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
So as we wrap this up, I want to make sure everybody knows, again, the mayor and council will have this item on their August 6th study session. That is going to be the first opportunity for the mayor and council to discuss this formally. Please note, mayor and council chambers are small, so we need to make sure that if people come, they're not caught by surprise. But that's one of the reasons for these meetings, was to make sure that our mayor and council members could be here to hear your perspective and share your opinion. So thank you for that. We've run out of time. You're welcome to submit your questions, please, and we do look at them at public. We can see if Mr. Tamir can talk to some folks. We'll see what's up. So Project Blue info at TucsonAZ.gov. If you did not get a question answered, you are welcome to email that to us. We will respond to those questions. We will get back to you. Project Blue info at TucsonAZ.gov. And just a moment, we're going to have... Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. So thank you.